If you're considering a move to the Holly Springs, North Carolina area, or perhaps you're just curious about what life is here, you've come to the right place. My name is Trish Dare and I'm with Dare Realty Group, and today I'm going to be breaking down the cost of living in Holly Springs, North Carolina. I'm going to be going over things such as home cost, rent cost, insurance, and taxes. But make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to do a brief overview how our cost of living compares to areas around the country such as New York, California, DC. So let's get into it. Holly Springs, North Carolina is one of the fastest growing areas in North Carolina. In fact, I've been here about 16 years and I want to say the population has more than doubled since I've lived here. We've seen tremendous growth. When I moved here, it was about 20,000, and now we're hovering right around 50,000. Now, a lot of it has to do with the location. Holly Springs is located just south of Raleigh. It's about a 30-minute commute into downtown Raleigh. And then we also are very convenient to Research Triangle Park, better known as RTP, which houses a lot of very large employers. So making the commute for people that live here into that area pretty easy, especially via 540, which is the toll road. It's a direct shot into RTP, and it's a pretty easy commute. Not a lot of traffic on that road, so it's a really nice drive, although you do have to pay the toll. I think it's worth it to save time and not have to deal with the traffic. Also up that way is the airport, so we're within 30 minutes of the international airport, making it super easy for people who have to travel for work. Now, having said that, the prices in Holly Springs have really grown and we've seen a lot of new development. So is it affordable? That's the big question. How affordable is Holly Springs? Well, let's check it out. First up is housing. So the number one question I get from people that are relocating to the area is, how much is it going to cost me to buy a home? And I think a lot of us start our search online, doing research, and we're Googling average prices of homes in certain areas. And a lot of times those prices may not be accurate. And I do find that with Holly Springs. If you were to Google what our average price was, it's going to be a lot lower than we're actually experiencing, just because we've had tremendous growth over the last 2 or 3 years. And a lot of that data that you see out online is very antiquated. So when we look at today's number, the median home price in the last year, so I ran home prices for 2024, and there was about 790 homes, which comprised of single family, townhomes, condos, although we don't really have a lot of condos here, so that could have been 1 or 2 that was thrown into that mix. The median home price was $635,000. Now, we had about a 12% increase year over year, and we do expect that to continue somewhat. I think we have a lot of good growth in our area, especially with Holly Springs. We have maybe 3 or 4 large biotech companies coming to the area, and they're bringing lots of high-paying jobs. So that's fueling a little bit of the increase in housing that we're seeing and the demand, because we still see a pretty good demand for homes here. We're still in a seller's market, although it has leveled out a little bit. We do have so many people moving to the area just because of our economy, and so that's going to keep those prices up. Now, when we look at rents are right around $2,000 a month if you're looking at, say, a 3-bedroom townhouse or a 2-bedroom townhouse. And again, that's really going to depend on what you're looking for and how new the unit is. But I would expect to say you would going to pay like anywhere from $1,800 to $2,200 for rent for a smaller home or a townhome. Obviously, if you're looking to rent a larger home, 4 or 5 bedrooms, it's going to run a little bit more, probably into close to $3,000. Now, going back to the median home price, having said that the median home price was $635,000, we still have homes here that are in the $400,000 to $500,000 range. We do have a handful that are under $400,000. They're going to be smaller homes, ranches, probably around that 1,500 square foot range, maybe up to 1,800 square feet. So we do have those here. We just have a lot more that are the larger homes, and that's what skews that average up. Next up, let's talk about property taxes. Now, I work with a lot of folks that come in from out of state, and most of them are coming either from the New York area, California, or Florida. And when we start talking about property taxes, they are super excited to hear what our taxes are here in North Carolina, and specifically Wake County and Holly Springs. Our taxes are relatively low compared to those other parts of the country, and you'll be happy to hear that they are about 85 cents per $100 of value. So going back to that average price of a home at $635,000, you could expect to pay a property tax around $5,400. Okay, let's talk about insurance. I'm going to be going over both home insurance and car insurance. So obviously it's going to depend on what your policy looks like, what your coverage is, what your deductible is. But I just wanted to give you averages. So if you are considering moving to the area, you kind of have a rule of thumb of what you could expect to pay. So when you're looking at homeowners insurance, you could expect to pay anywhere from $1,200 maybe up to $2,400 a year in coverage. Now, again, it's going to depend on the age of the home. It's going to depend on the price of the home, the size of the home, and where it's located. But I would say in that lower price point, lower cost, like $1,200 a year, you're looking at a home that's probably around 1,600 square feet. And then of course at the higher 2,200, 2,400 is going to be a larger home, more valued home, because as you know, insurance is based on the value and the replacement cost. But that just kind of gives you an idea of what you're looking at for homeowners insurance. And then when we look at car insurance, again, you could probably expect to pay anywhere from say $800 up to $1,400, depending of course on your driving record, on the age of the driver, and things like that. Of course, the car that you're driving comes into play and what the value is, and again, replacement costs. So those are all things to talk to your professional, your insurance agent about. But again, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what you can expect to pay, just because I know a lot of the people that are coming to the area are paying a lot more for insurance for both homeowners and auto. So I just kind of wanted to give you a gauge of what you can expect to pay here in the Holly Springs, North Carolina area. One of the other things I wanted to touch on when we're looking at cost of living are things such as everyday costs. You know, how much is it going to cost to fuel my car? How much is the grocery bill going to be? You know, how much is a haircut in your area? Things like that. You know, what's a movie ticket running? And I would say that we're pretty average with that. We're not too expensive and we're not like super inexpensive. I would say we're pretty on par with most of the country where things are headed right now as far as cost for all those things. I do think we're going to be a lot less than areas that are like bigger metro areas such as New York, Miami, Los Angeles. So I would say we're probably mid-tier when it comes to those things. And then another question that I get asked a lot is like, you know, what are the utility bills in a home? Like someone's buying a home and they want to know what's the utility bills. Most of the homes here do have gas and electric, although some of them are just electric. So you're going to have a gas bill. Those are usually going to be higher, of course, in the winter because they're powering your furnace. And then in the summer months, your electric bill is going to be a little higher just because we're running our air conditioning. But I would say as a whole, our heating and air costs are pretty average. Again, with the upticks in the winter, in the summer, but then in the fall and the spring, those kind of average back out just because our weather is so nice during those months that you're not really running as much electric or as much gas. So having said that, I would say with those types of cost of living things, we are pretty on par with other areas of the country. Up until this point, we've been talking about what it costs to live in Holly Springs. So now I want to talk about, well, what am I going to make as far as a salary if I live in Holly Springs? Well, the good news is our median household income is $128,000. That is well above the national average. So people that are living here are making a higher wage. We do have a lot of great industry in the area. Again, I mentioned RTP that has a lot of large employers, so a lot of people are working there. And then even in Holly Springs, we have a big bio farm area that's starting to grow. We're attracting very large companies. And with that, they're all bringing in great paying jobs, most of them in the six figures. And so that helps increase our median household income. Now, when we look at taxes, we do have a state income tax here in North Carolina, and we've been paying over 5% for that. The great news is it's starting to come down. So in 2024, that rate was 4.25%. Now it's down to 4.25%, which is awesome. And next year, it's going to go down even more to 3.99%, and then it's going to stay there. So that's good news for people that are coming to the area to know what is our state income tax here and what can I expect to pay? Because again, that factors into your cost of living. It's just another expense that you're going to have to pay. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I was going to compare the cost of living in Holly Springs to other cities around the country. Now, I'm going to compare the cost of living at Holly Springs and the housing cost here compared to other cities. Now, even though the housing cost in Holly Springs is about 7% higher than the national average, and our cost of living is about 4% higher than the national average, that might sound a little high, but wait till you hear when it's compared to some other cities that people are migrating from. Miami, 19% higher cost of living, 54% higher home cost. Boston, 46% cost of living, 119% home cost. San Francisco, 70% higher cost of living, 182% higher home cost. DC, 39% cost of living, higher home cost, 148% higher. New York City, 130% higher cost of living, 412% higher housing. That's crazy. Arlington, Virginia, 36% higher cost of living, 112% higher home cost. So to sum it up, Holly Springs is a great place to live. It's a growing economy, it's a growing community, and even though it's a growing community, it still has a very small town home feeling. So if you're considering making a move to the area and you would like to learn more about what it's like here, what the real estate is like, if you have any questions at all where I think real estate is headed, feel free to reach out. You can schedule a consult on my website, Dare Realty Group. I'll leave a link below in the comments, or always feel free to message me. I will also leave my contact information if anyone has any questions. I am happy to answer them. And I just wanted to say thank you for stopping in, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any more content about the local area here in Wake County. Thanks so much.